True crime hits different. One moment you're watching, the next you're sitting there replaying every detail in your head. Today we're looking at documentaries that do exactly that. The ones packed with unbelievable twists, emotional stories, and real cases that stay with you long after the credits roll. If you're ready for the kind of mysteries you can't pause and the stories you won't forget, let's jump into the top 10 best true crime documentaries to watch.
The appearance that this was a wholesome, functioning family. Well, that simply is not true.
Number 10. The Tinder Swindler.
They said, "Do you have a picture of him?"
If you've ever thought online dating was risky, this documentary will make you rethink everything. The Tinder Swindler follows a group of women who were pulled into the orbit of a man who used charm, luxury, and fake danger to drain their bank accounts. What makes it so gripping isn't just the scam itself. It's the way these women decide they're done being victims. They team up, compare notes, and start turning the tables. The pacing is tight, the story hits hard, and the honesty from the victims gives the whole film a rare emotional punch. You feel their embarrassment, their anger, and their humor as they walk you through something nobody ever thinks will happen to them. It's messy, human, and incredibly watchable.
That moment when they look at each other and they say, "That's the guy." Function, you know?
Number 9. 3 Identical Strangers.
As soon as this guy turned around, I knew it was Eddie's double. I said, "You're not gonna believe this. You have a twin brother."
Oh my God.
3 identical triplets separated at birth randomly find each other as adults, and for a while it feels like the happiest accident in the world. But once the reunion goes public, the cracks begin to show and a much bigger secret starts to surface. The documentary blends interviews, archival clips, and reenactments in a way that keeps you locked in without ever stretching the truth. The storytelling is sharp, the pacing is clean, and every twist feels heavier because it's real. By the time the full picture forms, you're not just shocked. You're wondering how something like this was ever allowed to happen.
When people ask me what is the most remarkable story you ever encountered, I tell them it's the story of the triplets.
You guys have been on the front page of every newspaper in the world.
True.
Number 8. Paradise Lost. The child murders at Robin Hood Hills.
The murders had been part of a satanic ritual.
Satanic
A
worship.
horrific, ritualistic sacrifice.
This is one of the most important true crime documentaries ever made, not because of the case itself, but because of what it reveals about fear, assumptions, and how fast a community can turn on the wrong people. Paradise Lost follows the investigation into the brutal murders of 3 young boys in West Memphis and the controversial conviction of 3 teenagers known as the West Memphis 3. The film doesn't push a narrative, it just shows everything. The courtrooms, the interviews, the families, the pressure, the chaos, and lets the audience feel the weight of it. It's raw, unsettling, and honest in a way that takes you straight into the heart of the hysteria surrounding the case. Instead of trying to answer every question, it forces you to sit with the uncertainty, and that's what gives it so much power.
Everybody in the town and in the courtroom and on the jury are all blinded by their fantasies about satanic cults.
Number 7. Gone Girls. The Long Island Serial Killer.
Nick Dunn, you're probably the most hated man in America right now. Did you kill your wife, Nick?
This one pulls you straight into one of the most unsettling and highly publicized serial killer investigations in modern American history. Gone Girls looks at the Long Island serial killer case from the ground level, through the voices of the victims' families, investigators, and the people who lived through years of fear and unanswered questions. The documentary focuses heavily on Shannon Gilbert, whose disappearance set everything in motion. When she went missing, the search for her uncovered multiple bodies across Gilgo Beach, forcing the public to confront a terrifying truth. Someone had been killing for years, and almost nobody noticed. The film leans on real footage, news coverage, and raw interviews to show how complicated and frustrating this case has been. It doesn't pretend to have all the answers. Instead, it lays out the timeline and the missteps, the breakthroughs, and the lingering doubts, all before the trial even begins. It's an uneasy watch, but that's exactly why it works.
You ever see that guy in the glasses before?
Amy is the kind of girl who attracts admirers.
Number 6. Abducted in Plain Sight.
Jan Broberg and Robert Berchtold had an unnatural relationship.
If you've never seen this documentary, prepare yourself. Abducted in Plain Sight is one of the most unbelievable true crime stories ever told. Not because the crime is complicated, but because it happened in a quiet, church-going community where everyone trusted the wrong person. In 1974, 12-year-old Jen Broberg was taken by a close family friend. What follows is a chain of events that feels impossible. Manipulation, grooming, betrayal, and a level of denial from the adults around her that still shocks people today. The documentary walks you through the details piece by piece, and each reveal hits harder than the last. It's disturbing, frustrating, and honestly one of the most eye-opening examples of how far a predator can go when he knows exactly which buttons to press. The story doesn't rely on dramatization. The real interviews alone are enough to keep you locked in.
There'll never be anybody for me but Jan. Never.
Number 5. Dear Zachary.
Jesus Christ, Kurt, what do you want? I mean, no, I just need. I'm just.
Few true crime documentaries hit as hard as Dear Zachary. What starts as a tribute to a lost friend turns into one of the most devastating stories you'll ever watch. After Dr. Andrew Bagby is murdered by his ex-girlfriend in 2001, his family's world collapses. And it only gets more complicated when she flees to Canada and reveals she's pregnant with Andrew's child. Filmmaker Kirk Quenney, Andrew's best friend, begins gathering home videos, stories, and memories to create something meaningful for the baby who would never meet his father. The result is emotional, raw, and almost unbearably personal. You hear from the people who loved Andrew the most, and every clip of him feels like another reminder of how much was taken away. This documentary isn't just about a crime, it's about grief, love, and the impossible strength of Andrew's parents as they fight for custody and justice. Dear Zachary stays with you long after it ends, and that's what makes it one of the most unforgettable entries in true crime history.
My movie might be one of the only ways Zachary could see and get to know his father. So I pointed the van east toward Newfoundland and set off on a quest to bring a man back to life.
Number 4. Making a Murderer.
I think a good life. All the trouble started.
This is the documentary that shook the internet, sparked petitions, and turned a quiet Wisconsin county into the center of worldwide debate. Making a Murderer follows Stephen Avery, a man who spent nearly 20 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, only to be released, sue the county, and then land back behind bars for an entirely new murder case. The series lays out the timeline piece by piece. The evidence, the accusations, the family dynamics, and the interrogation of Avery's nephew, Brendan Dassey. It doesn't tell you what to believe. Instead, it shows how messy, complicated, and emotional the justice system can be when pressure, politics, and personal bias collide. Through interviews, courtroom footage, and years of patient filmmaking, the creators dig into a case that still divides audiences. Whether you walk away believing Stephen Avery is guilty or wrongly convicted a second time, the docuseries makes sure of one thing. You'll be thinking about this story long after the credits roll.
There isn't one iota of physical evidence in this case that connects Stephen Avery to it. In fact, the sheriff was told by the police, "You have the wrong guy."
Number 3, don't fuck with cats.
I believe this video is not the end.
Something bad is about to happen. He's gonna kill somebody.
This is one of those documentaries that pulls you in with pure disbelief. Don't Fuck with Cats starts with a disturbing video posted online, and from that moment, a group of regular internet users decides they're not letting it go. What follows is a digital manhunt that feels more intense than many scripted thrillers. The doc does a great job showing how online sleuths tracked every tiny clue, from a vacuum cleaner to a doorknob, while the Canadian police tried to make sense of the case from another angle. You get interviews, behind-the-screen breakdowns, and a tense, steady pace that builds until the truth comes out. It's chilling, it's unpredictable, and it's a reminder of how far obsession can go when the internet decides someone has crossed a line.
All of a sudden, another video appears. My mind doesn't want to believe it's true.
Number 2, The Staircase.
911, where's your emergency? My wife had an accident. She's still breathing. What kind of accident? Still downstairs.
If you want a documentary that makes you question everything, this is it. The Staircase follows author Michael Peterson after his wife Kathleen is found dead at the bottom of their staircase, and from the moment he becomes the prime suspect, everything turns into a long, exhausting court battle. Across its many episodes, the documentary digs deep into the evidence, the legal teams, the family dynamics, and the shifting theories about what really happened that night. It doesn't rush, it lets you sit with every twist and every piece of testimony until you start forming your own conclusions. And just when you think you've got it figured out, the case opens up in a new direction. It's slow-burning, immersive, and one of the best courtroom-focused true crime stories ever made.
The DA is trying to say that our dad killed our mother.
There's no murder weapon. There's no motive.
But we're sitting behind our dad.
Number 1, The Jinx.
Durst was wanted for murder in Texas. He's a suspect for murders in Los Angeles and Westchester County, New York.
At the top of the list is The Jinx, a documentary that didn't just explore a crime story, it changed the case itself. Directed by Andrew Jarecki, this series dives into the strange and unsettling world of Robert Durst, the real estate heir tied to multiple disappearances and murders over decades. What sets this series apart is the access. You get interviews with Durst himself, real police files, taped phone calls, forgotten evidence, and years of research that uncover details even investigators overlooked. Jarecki and his team built a level of trust with Durst that's almost unbelievable, and that access leads to some of the most jaw-dropping moments ever captured in a true crime documentary. And the final 2 episodes? They're legendary. Viewers went in expecting a deep dive into a complicated man, and instead got one of the most shocking endings in documentary history. If there's one true crime series that deserves the #1 spot, it's The Jinx.
Do not tell the whole truth. Nobody tells the whole truth.